Hey, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Tracy and I am a girl with plans. So today I'm going to ask you a question. Have you recently or in the past purchased a planner, and once you actually started working in it, you realized it wasn't working for you? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you some ways to maybe repurpose those old planners so you don't just have to toss them out. All right, guys, so my desk is pretty full today. I have all of these layouts, plus off to the side, I have some of my planners so I can maybe show you guys some ideas. But there are so many layouts out there, and I'm not going to touch on all the different layouts that are available. I'm more going to be focusing on the more common layouts that there are. So like the vertical, this is the vertical, the dashboard, the horizontal, and then the teacher layout. And the reason why I'm focusing more on these is because they kind of are the same across multiple planner brands. So no matter what type of planner brand you use, you can pretty much repurpose them the same way. And in all honesty, with the various layouts, you can also use them for similar ways that I'm going to suggest. So I purchased a lot of planners on clearance at the end of 2022. So I was trying to find what planners work best for the things I want to plan or track or just use in general. And there's been a lot of trial and error, and I will admit I am still trying some layouts, and in some capacities I have found what they call planner piece, where I feel like this might be my go-to layout for the foreseeable future for certain types of tasks. But in other areas, I am definitely still trying things out. And in all honesty, in some, I'm just kind of gonna just stick with it because I don't really want to change it, even though it's not the best. But all right, so that's enough of an intro. I don't want this video to be too long. I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet because it's gonna be a lot of chatting. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. All right, so I think I'm gonna kind of divide this into kind of 3 categories. The first one is obviously for planning. So if you have a planner that didn't work for planning your everyday tasks, what are some other things that you might be able to quote unquote plan for that might work for that planner? The other one is for tracking. So that's not planning things in the future. It's kind of tracking things that are currently going on and things like that. And the third is just kind of other and miscellaneous. So I'm going to start with probably the quickest, which is for planning. So when you first get a planner, the obvious goal is to track like appointments and, maybe your work day, work task, chores, household duties, family schedules, and things like that. Birthdays, anniversaries, so important dates, appointments, stuff like that. That's kind of, something that we always want to plan. Let's say you purchased a planner, you thought it would work for you, and then it just didn't. Whether that be the vertical, I know the vertical is the most popular, or the dashboard, maybe you wanted to try that out, and you just realized it didn't work for you. Well, there are other things that maybe you can quote unquote plan for, that you might not have thought about. And I know a lot of companies have specific planners for some of the things I'm going to suggest. But just remember, even though there's a specific planner for that, for example, faith planning, they have specific faith planners. I mean, you can pretty much make any planner work for that. So kind of, think outside the box in terms of just because a planner is for something in specific, you can always use it for something else, to kind of suit your needs. Like a lot of these can be adjusted to suit your needs. So fitness. Happy Planner has a fitness planner. I currently do not use a fitness planner. I don't use any of these layouts right now. I'm using the gratitude layout, which if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you already know that. But then you also know that sometimes when I'm actually decorating it, I always refer to it as a modified vertical because here is like the gratitude layout. You see, I call it modified vertical because there's these vertical columns. It's just divided up differently. So that's what I'm using for fitness. because you can kind of track whatever you want. So you can obviously use a vertical for that. Like I said, it's just one of those things, and you don't have to be busy with fitness. You don't have to like work out 7 days a week, 5 days a week. Maybe you just work out 3 days a week, and maybe working out is walking. And I'll get to it more with tracking, but just so this, when I talk about fitness, I guess this will go more hand in hand with planning / tracking. But along those same lines, meal planning. The vertical is really good for meal planning. I don't do it, but I need to do it. But you could do like breakfast, lunch, dinner, or, you know, you can add breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, midday snack, dinner. So, I mean, this is perfect for meal planning. The same thing actually with the dashboard. Let me see. The dashboard would be pretty good for meal planning because you can write down your meal plans here and then look at it and then kind of write down your grocery list over here. Or like here, you can kind of write down like your dinners, and then you can write down here, you can actually break it down further as far as the ingredients you need for those dinners. So like if you want to have like chicken and veggies, well then down here for Tuesday, you were break down what type of vegetables you want. So then you can kind of figure out what you need for your grocery list or things like that. So meal planning is very good. I mean, you can do meal planning with any of them. The horizontal, you can pretty much do for anything. I think the horizontal and the vertical, you can use it for anything because it's pretty blank. It's pretty open. I do lean toward the dashboard a lot. For things that don't need as much writing space because you have these task lists over here. So I kind of personally like that. So always kind of keep that in mind if you have a dashboard. I'm a fan of using what you have, but along those same lines, the 18-month planners came out, I guess, within the last month or so. They should probably be going on sale probably around August. But a lot of the 2023 planners are on clearance at greatly reduced prices. So, you know, if you did need to pick up another one at one of those reduced prices, these are some ideas. And remember, you can always redate things. So the horizontal, and then the teacher planner, when you think about anything like fitness or meal planning or anything like that, remember, you can white out all of these. You can use stickers. You can just put a white label strip down here. I mean, you can literally just mark them out if you don't want to do any of that. Especially if you're not a decorative planner. I mean, you can literally take a Sharpie and just kind of mark through it and then write your lines here, like breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner, snack, or something like that. Or breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And then redate up here. So you can always do that. The other thing that you could do if you did not want to redate is you could do breakfast, the same thing I just said. So you can do breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And then here you can just have Saturday and Sunday, and then you can just write BSLS. So then that way you don't have to redate. So that way you would have your meal planning for these 5 days and these columns. And then these 2 columns would be separate, and it'll be Saturday and Sunday. It will take a little getting used to, I think, if you do that. But I think after a few weeks, you might get the hang of that. So that is another way to do it. And again, it's for anything. I'm just throwing out a couple of ideas. Budgeting, there are specific budget planners out there, but if you didn't want to invest in any, you can obviously use any of these for budgeting. Another thing too, is if you really are like, I don't want to add another weekly planner to my lineup. Remember, you don't have to use every page in the month. So you can take this dashboard, you can white out or mark out or put a sticker, do whatever you want to do over the actual days of the week and almost use all of this as a notes page. And if you're budgeting, let's say you're doing budgeting, what you could always do is have all of these blocks be like something specific, like certain things that you want to, like budgeting goals or budgeting things. Obviously, I'm using budgeting as an example, but I think with the dashboard, you can just pull out these and use these not for weekly. So you can just kind of use them for the whole month if you want, like just 2 pages for the whole month, and then just pop them in your current planner. The other thing is kind of along those same lines of not using the entire month, is just popping them out. And again, I'm talking about future planning. So a lot of some of the other stuff I'm going to get to, it's kind of the same concept, but travel. When we talk about future travel plans, so if right now I'm filming this video in May, if I was to take a trip in July, maybe I want to go ahead and get the ball. Oh, this is actually July vertical. Yay. If I want to get the ball rolling on planning, I could just pull one of those planners I don't love. Let's say it is a vertical, flip it open, start pre-planning. Again, I don't need the whole month. I only need the ones that either correspond with my travel, or if it's outdated, again, just redate it, or you can just white out, remove the dates altogether, again, with a Sharpie, a sticker, white out, and keep the days of the week. Because if you're taking a vacation and you know this is the trip, the actual date might not be important. If you know it's a week-long trip, you might just want to say, this is what I want to do on Monday, Tuesday. It's not necessarily Monday the 4th. It's like what you want to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So those are some ideas. And again, like when you want to just pull out certain ones, then you can put this in with your current planner. You can just put it at the end of that month. So like for May, you can just pop it in. Let's say this is like after your quote unquote currently page or the back page of the month. Obviously, you know, popping it into a section is only going to work if you're using a disc bound or a rank system. If you have like a coiled planner or a planner that's bound and cannot be removed, then just popping in 1 month isn't necessarily going to work. Unless you wanted to cut this out and put it on a blank page. But like I said, those are some ideas. You don't have to think about utilizing the whole month. You can just think about utilizing certain, like a few pages of that month. Like I said, redating, remember, redate, or just remove the dates altogether. So those aren't, like, I didn't really, you know, go over too much for planning because there are a lot of Plan With Me videos, and I feel like you can kind of get ideas from other people. Just remember, when people are doing Plan With Me's and they're planning different things, like maybe gardening or stuff like that, whatever type of layout they use, just think about other layouts and how you can incorporate it. Like I said, use what you have. Or if you really want to buy another planner, use what's on sale. All right, let's talk about tracking. I actually do a lot of tracking. I do more tracking than planning. I think I plan like my catch-all, which is my appointments and my day-to-day stuff, but I track fitness. I don't really plan fitness. I track fitness. I track my health. I track my goals. So I plan social media and I plan like my daily appointments. So 2 of my 5 kind of daily planners are planning, and then 3 are tracking. So I love tracking stuff because I feel like when it comes to tracking, these are the planners or the pages that I'm going to be keeping in my stash for years to come, because I'm going to want to refer to them. So tracking. The first thing I'm going to say is, because we already talked about fitness, I'm going to talk about fitness again. So let's say you were using you had an extra vertical. You didn't love the vertical for planning your everyday activities. Maybe you preferred the dashboard for that. So now you have an empty vertical laying around, and maybe you're getting into fitness. So you could track it. You could track walking, like how many miles you walked, if you know that. Maybe if you don't have a fitness watch or a fitness app, and you're walking in your neighborhood, maybe you can track, you started from your home, how far down did you walk as far as which street you stopped at and then turned around. So that's one way to kind of like judge your progress if you don't actually have something that tracks that. If you have something that tracks that, you can track your steps and things like that. So I think fitness tracking is important. So I track on my actual planner. Like I said, I'm using the Gratitude, which I call a modified vertical because it has the vertical columns. I track my Apple Watch stats, which I actually made stickers to put on there, so I don't have to always use it, but you can use highlighters to kind of highlight it if you don't want to keep writing the titles. I track the actual workout I do, like how long the workout is. If it's an on-demand workout, I like to actually record the name the date it was filmed and the instructor in case I actually want to find that same exact workout again and repeat it. And then also keep track of the weights that I use for each particular exercise so I can kind of improve on that. And I do try to note whether it was like, if I need like with an up and down arrow, whether I need to increase or decrease. And then, you know, you can track, I don't know, like if you are doing a spin class, my spin bike is bare bones, so it doesn't record anything. But you know, if you want to do like your speed and like was it cadence and all the other stuff, you can kind of, or your output and all the other good stuff, you can kind of record that on here. Like, so again, anything you're tracking fitness related, think of using an old planner if you don't have a fitness planner. Because obviously you can also track this in your fitness planner, or if your fitness planner is full with actual planning and you have an extra planner laying around, then maybe you can do it as a tracker. So another tracker is I have a separate fitness and health tracker, and I'm using a recovery layout, which I also refer to as a modified dashboard, because the recovery layout, let me see if I have one. I think I have one that's not. Yeah, I have June in here. So like here's the recovery layout. You see this is almost identical to the dashboard, and then but over here is different. I love this layout. I'm not going to go into this layout. I go into it more in my wellness plan with me's, but that is not a super like popular layout among different brands. So I kind of want to stick to your more common layouts. But just know if you have the recovery layout and hate it, then the dashboard is very similar. So some of these suggestions can be applied to that. Because remember, any planner that has prompts, I know the wellness planner also has prompts at the bottom. Remember, you can remove them. Washi tape will remove them. Whiteout. Taking a Sharpie, well, not a Sharpie, because a Sharpie will probably bleed through on the back, but taking something to kind of just mark through it, or just ignore it. Just ignore it altogether and do what you want to do there. Like I said, it's your planner. And as long as you can remember what you're using that little block for, then who cares what it says? So just remember that. All right, so the dashboard. So like I said, I'm using the recovery layout, but this can pretty much be utilized the same way. So when I'm talking about health, it's like things that are going on with your body that you might want to track, like symptoms, like symptomatic stuff. So if you suffer from headaches or migraines, this is something that you can kind of track. I would say like your monthly calendars are also really good to get when it comes to health tracking in particular. Your the monthly calendar page is very good. And when I say monthly calendar, I mean, assuming everybody knows, but that page is really good to track, like you get an overall view so you can color code and write, like when you had migraines, there'll be like a dot for pink means a migraine, or you can just write migraine or M for migraine, and then if you have other symptoms, to kind of get a monthly overview. But on here you might want to write more stuff, almost journaling about it, like how bad it was. Maybe you create a scale to do it. Maybe you want to write down what could possibly have triggered it. So what I'm doing in my wellness, which I'm not going to get too much into it because I have so many Plan With Me, so if you're a viewer of my channel, I don't want to be too repetitive, but I also track the weather in here, just because they can actually impact the symptoms. And then if I eat a lot of sweets or a lot of dairy, I might actually note that. So if I eat a lot of sweets or dairy on Tuesday, I might note that here, because come like Saturday or Sunday, I might have a symptom that when I'm like looking back at what's going on here, it may have impacted. So it's not like I'm tracking my foods, but when I know I'm eating something bad, especially kind of we hear about all these triggering foods, I kind of want to keep note of it just so I can kind of figure out, is it really triggering for me? And is one of these symptoms that come up later in the week due to that? But like blood pressure, whatever you're monitoring for your, like your health, can be tracked in here. And what I do is I like to track it too for my own personal reasons, but also for future doctor's appointments. All right, that's my little spiel about health. Obviously, I think it's really important to track health. The same thing with mental health. So like you can also use it as a mental health tracker. Like I talked about anxiety. I'm tracking that quote unquote on my health planner, but my health planner is kind of a combination of everything, because I don't have a crazy amount of symptoms. So moods, health, moods, like your anxiety level, maybe depression, anything like that. And I have the dashboard out, but oh my goodness, I mean, pretty much all of these would work. And also remember, for the vertical, you can kind of set categories for each row if you want, if that helps you out. If not, you can kind of just write anywhere and everywhere. So if you were doing this for health, you can always do symptoms, moods, and then notes, where it could be a catch-all like the weather and how you ate, things like that. Same thing for this. You can develop categories. And again, if you don't want to redate, you can always leave these open for Saturday and Sunday and just completely use these same categories that you would put up here for these 2 rows. And you might just want to handwrite an abbreviation or the whole thing out in each of these blocks, just so you don't confuse yourself. But that's if you don't want to redate. If you want to redate, then just write the categories here and then the dates up here. But like I said, you can also use this for wellness tracking, and especially if you have a lot of things you want to track medical related. And this is also a good place to put down like medication and vitamins. So if you're actually taking a prescription medication and you don't want to forget, you can just check them off. Or if you're taking a medication, not every day, sometimes it is important to put in your planner. I do keep mine in my catch-all, but that could go here. And vitamins. Vitamins is something I am really bad about taking. So that's something else. And the same thing, like all of this stuff can be in here. And just remember that the horizontal, even though it's all these spaces, you can draw lines to block it off. And then you have this big note section here on the horizontal, which is helpful. But just remember, you can always do that. So you can draw some vertical lines to kind of make sections in your horizontal, or you can use, if you're a sticker person, you can put boxes in there. So just remember that. So the other thing, I am going to show you, well, this is not it. I have too many planners. All right, goals. The next thing is goals. So I have two different layouts I have previously used for goals planning, because this is new to me. So this is one of those things I'm still working on. The one thing I can tell you that has worked is I've been using the vertical for goals. So again, I'm talking about goals, but look how I did it. I put headers up here over top of the actual dates. So keep that in mind when you're looking at certain layouts that you don't like for actual planning, that you can just use the date sections as headers and pretty much track anything. I mean, anything. Just think outside the box. And like for vertical, here we go. I used 3 vertical pages. So what I did is I taped this to an old outdated divider. So that way I flip right to it. But there we go. I used 3 vertical pages. So it didn't matter which ones I pulled because I was going to change them. So just kind of think about some of those things, because everybody's different, and what you want to track or what you want to plan or anything like that is so different. So just think about that for the vertical, that you can completely remove the dates and make actual column headers and use this for anything. And again, I only used a week and a half of verticals for this particular, well, actually, I guess 2 weeks, because this one's taped. So yeah, I like it. Well, yeah. So I don't have much else to say about that. But I'm liking that. And what I'm doing for goals, I guess I should kind of, I don't want to, like I said, I have a separate goal setup video. But what I'm doing is I'm writing my headers here, and then I'm writing down the action plans down here, and then I check them off as I do them. So if I have like a certain amount of times I want to do it the month, like read at least 4 books, I actually can check all of those off right now, because I have read my 4 books. Yay, y'all didn't know that was gonna happen. So you check that off. But then there were some that I want to do at least so many times a week. Look at this. Look at this. I did week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So it's kind of like a accountability type thing for goals. Like I said, I use this Now, I had tried to use the dashboard planner earlier on, and the way I was using it, it didn't work for me because I was using it more as the columns like I did there. But what you could do again is remove the dates and make these categories and use these as categories. And then you can kind of keep these almost as is. This is an old dashboard layout. All of my dashboards are this format. It's not the new one that has the long task list. But you can cover these up and then kind of make your own labels, but get it done is, it's definitely something that you might want to do to work on goals. So yeah, I mean, I think this, like I said, just remove the dates and you literally can have a 2-page goal spread that you can put in your actual planner. One thing I am doing the past few months, I keep pulling the wrong planner, because that was my goals planner and I changed it. I have this in my catch-all, the back of my catch-all. But I am using an hourly layout for my goal planning, or the goal planning / goal tracking. So this is the hourly. So what I did was I just kind of, I guess you say, frankenplanned these pages at the front and then put this in the back. So yeah, if you did want to do like more of a daily goals planning, you can definitely do that with any of these layouts. The dashboard, you can kind of write down the goals you want to focus on this week and then use the actual day-to-day to track your progress. Maybe you want to draw a little square here. And if it was to read, say read 30 minutes, exercise 20 to 30 minutes, outdoor walk, and then just check them off as you do them. So like I said, you can use, for goal planning, you can do like do it for the month and not track it each day. Or if you wanted to track it each day, all of these work. You just break your goals into actual action plans and then, I guess, plan and then track your action plans in any of these formats, because all of these formats will work. I mean, the same, I already showed you this, but if you wanted to do it for a daily basis, you can obviously add more dividers in here. Just draw a horizontal line here, here, and here. If you wanted to have 6 things you wanted to track, you wanted to do different things each day, you write your one goal here, write what, like your title, and then your goal, like your action plan, so you can check it off. If they're different, they might be the same, so you might only have one word here. And then the same thing with the teacher. Like I said, you can always use these as categories. So you can have your goal categories, you can remove this and write your goal categories here and then check them off each day. So if it's health and fitness, working out, eating according to plan, check, check. So, and of course, like I said, the horizontal and the vertical, I see like using in very similar ways. So the same thing, you can kind of just handwrite your action plans or your goals and then just check them off. So the other thing is like hobby journaling. So if you have a hobby that you do frequently, then maybe turning one of your journals that you did not like for your quote unquote catch-all or everyday planner, using it more as a hobby journal. So I kind of brought up, some people do gardening journaling. I cannot go into that because I do not do it. I do not garden, nor do I have a garden journal. So I'm not sure what they do, but I know you can probably find some of those on other YouTube videos. I just started recently a reading journal. So, and I do have a video up about how I set this up. But for the reading journal, what I did is I found a 2020, do I have any that still has, yeah. I found an old, like I've been using my 2022 calendars. And then what I've been doing is, because 2022 and 2023 is only one day off, I've just been removing the actual days of the week and then doing a Monday start, and then removing the actual holidays because they're not going to be accurate. I mean, the ones that are date specific are going to be accurate, but the ones that are day specific, like daylight savings time, would be inaccurate, or election day, which falls on a Tuesday. My Tuesday is going to be here. So that's inaccurate. So I just been utilizing the monthly for that, but then I've been utilizing the horizontal for actual like book thoughts and book reviews. So that's how I've been using it for my reading journal. Obviously, any of these could also suffice for reading journaling, or any kind of hobby journaling. Again, I'm not doing like a day-by-day tracking of it, but if you did, bam, any of these planners would work for that. If you wanted to kind of remove the dates and only use a few of your monthly pages for it, remove the dates. Again, you can make, for reading journaling, you can actually do like one book per square for like a review if you just wanted to write the book title and the ratings and maybe how long it took you, something like that. So yeah. And I will say my monthly and my reading journal is where I'm using when I start and end a book. That's what I'm tracking there. I did not mention that. So yeah, so think about like any type of hobbies you have and anything like hobbies were something you want to track. And then the other thing along those lines is like progress trackers, which I guess is kind of the same for if you don't want to have a full-on reading journal, you might want to do like reading progress trackers, which again, any of these would work. Physical therapy or counseling appointments, if you kind of want to record your progress on that, you can do that. For like fitness, if you're doing like progress for your overall like body composition, or like how far you're running, your running time, walking time, things like that. You might want to track your progress on some of these old planners. Especially like if you have a fitness planner, you might only want to use that for fitness planning because it might be full. You might be filling it up with fitness planning, meal planning, and stuff like that. So you might need something else to track your actual stats. And again, when you think about stats, that's something, like I said, I keep for the long term. All right, we're almost done, guys. And believe it or not, I think I'm just touching the surface with some of these ideas. All right, so now we're going to be talking about other. And other is going to be not planning, not tracking, just kind of writing. Again, reading journal, stuff like that. Another thing is like journaling. All of these would be good for journaling. I mean, this is perfect. It's not as much room. And then you can always recategorize all of these and kind of do like here, people used to do daily gratitude. I had tried that once in that section, but you can almost do the same right here. Like, write weekly highlights or something like that. And then do your daily journaling here, especially if you don't write a lot. And I don't write a lot when I journal. Obviously, the horizontal is perfect for journaling. I mean, it almost looks like a journal. So I do know a lot of people use this for journaling as well. Perfect for it. This one might be a little bit tougher, just because there's all those like, because it's broken up into smaller boxes. But again, you can still write certain things and you don't even have to categorize that. You know, I mean, you can just write freely and just write in the boxes. Again, you can redate it if you choose, or when I say redate, I mean put the dates up here versus down here, or like I said, you can always do Saturday and Sunday here. So, I mean, anything you can make work for journaling. I did start a creative journal, which when they talk about creative journaling, it's more of like adding colors and stuff. Mine's mental wellness journaling, but like here's like the week that I'm filming it. I'm not sure when I'm gonna post this video, but I just kind of write in the boxes. I haven't colored everything in. But even if you don't want to do that, you can always do prompts. If you're trying to get started in journaling, you can kind of just say prompts, like what I'm grateful for today, what was a win for today, things like that. And again, like I said, all of these would greatly work for that. I do know a lot of people when it comes to journaling do use the vertical and the horizontal, but there is no reason why this would not work as well. Like I said, just kind of think outside the box when you're thinking about utilizing these. These could also be overflow spaces, especially this one. Or these, if you have a lot on Thursday, you can always overflow and write in here. Or my favorite, you can use it to decorate or doodle. I'm not good at doodling, but if you like to draw and be creative, you can always use this space as more of your creative outlet. And then you're actually word journaling over here or vice versa. maybe your journaling is doodling. So yeah, speaking of which, lettering. Lettering is something that a lot of us in the planner community and beyond like to do because we like to write pretty in our planner. That is one of my goals that I've not been as successful for. Of course, the horizontal, again, it has the line, so it's be good for lettering. This is lined, so this would also work for lettering. The hourly is lined, so if you bought an hourly and hate it, just remember for the hourly, I mean, I'm not talking about the hourly, but just, I mean, it's kind of along the lines of the vertical again. But the hourly is really easy because it's only these you would have to like either ignore if you didn't want to remove them, or just wipe them out, or take a darker, not too dark, because like I said, it does bleed, some like marker or felt tip pen and just kind of mark through it. You can use this for anything. Like I said, you can definitely use this for journaling. You can pretty much use this for anything that I'm talking about and just not use it in an hourly format. It was just not one of the ones that I picked up to discuss, but just think about some of those, like the color block layout is another one. When you think about it, it's almost like a vertical or a teacher layout. So you can kind of, if you're thinking about some of these ideas for some of these layouts and you have the color block, just think about some of the ideas that I've discussed for like the teacher or the vertical. And they could be applied to the color block, or like I said, you know, the vertical, and probably even the teacher too can apply to the hourly. All right, so lettering, like I said, it's basically any old pages that you have. If you skipped a week in your current planner, so even if your current planner is working for you, but you skipped a week, then you can just hand letter on those pages if you didn't want to back plan, which I do not back plan. So yeah, I would probably use it for something like that. So I've already talked about goal action plans, memory keeping. And when I talk about memory keeping, I mean with and without photos. So there are a lot of people that do memory keeping with photos, and a lot of them, there are memory keeping books, but they'll use like the vertical just because it's easier to kind of place photos in the boxes and then kind of write a little bit about it. So yeah, but you could also do it with this. Just as easy because the boxes are pretty big. And like I said, remember you have all this space to utilize to kind of talk about the week or whatever you're talking about. The teacher layout might be hard, but again, you can make anything work. And obviously this is, like I said, it's pretty much, you can use it the same way you would use a vertical. You're just using it horizontally rather than vertically. The other thing when we talk about memory planning, and what I'm more into when it comes to memory planning, is almost just writing down stuff. So like, it doesn't always have to involve photos. You might just want to use some old planners to kind of jot down memories from that week. And, you know, a lot of times, and I will say, and when I say a lot of times, I'm speaking about myself. So like I have a memory keeper that I kind of write down lists of things, so like the concerts I've been to, like that. But the one thing I don't do is kind of write down like other memories. So like if I went to dinner with, you know, so-and-so, I put that in my catch-all, but that might be something good to keep in a memory planner because I'm thinking like memory planning is, again, it's going to be one of those planners just like my trackers that I'm going to probably keep for a longer term than my planner that I use as my catch-all. Like I might hang on to my catch-all for a year after I use it, just in case I need to flip back and refer to something. But as we get a few years out, I'm probably going to end up tossing it just for the sake of space. But any type of like memory keeper, travel keeper, I'm probably going to keep for the long term. So I guess, you know, having something where you can track down memories in general, things that happened that day. Did you spend time with, you know, did you go out to dinner with your parents? Did you have a good family day at the park? Did you go and see a baseball game of like your local minor league baseball team? You know, simple stuff like that you wouldn't think about devoting like photos to or something like that. Just having a general memory keeper. And again, all of these layouts work well for that. I mean, the teacher layout, like for me, this would be perfect because if I have a big memory, on like a big trip or a big thing that happens, I'm probably going to devote a separate filler page to that and not necessarily like a planner page. But all these little memories I don't keep track of, and I probably should. So this would be perfect because I don't have like really big memories. So I don't need a lot of space. So again, that would be good. And there's room for, if again, especially if you did decorate at the top of this, you could treat this, I don't know where the other page is. You could treat this like a vertical. I really don't know where the other, here it is. You could treat this like a vertical and put photos down here if you did want to add photos or doodles or a sticker that kind of complements what you are writing. If you're one that has to fill it up. I mean, I know some of us just do not like blank spaces. So yeah, I think memory keeping is an excellent thing to do with these old planners. And like I said, that's with or without photos. I am probably going to do it without photos because this is something that I am going to try to incorporate. Like I said, I actually have a memory planner and I have done some setup videos on this. I just took this cover from an old one, but like I've done like a concert list. So I did like a list of all the concerts I've been to that I could remember. And then I recently just did a page from one concert I went to. So this is what I mean by kind of doing pages, you know. Another thing that kind of, I didn't have this on my list, but I just thought about it. So I created these, used filler paper to create sheets, and you see I didn't do April, but then I added some of the currently prompts here. That would be a good for memory keeping as well. And like I said, a lot of us do that on the monthly basis, but you could definitely do it on the weekly basis or the daily basis. So if you're thinking about memories and you're like, oh, I didn't really have anything to do today. What am I watching today? What did I watch today? What did I read today? What did I, and again, this is all for memory purposes and not for like checking it off like your to-do type thing. But think about those currently prompts that people use, and they could be incorporated into a memory thing and stuff like that. All right, I think that is all I'm going to say for now. This video has turned out to be a little bit longer than I had anticipated. But what I kind of wanted to do is I am like trying to find ways to reuse a lot of my old planners because I went a little bit overboard when I hit those clearance sales at the end of 2020 to the point where I'm going to try to refrain from doing that in 2023. But some of these planners that I purchased, I have multiple layouts of, and I only like using it for a certain thing. So I'm trying to think outside the box of what I can use it for because I don't want things to go to waste. I mean, of course, you can always destash them in destash groups, but if you want to utilize them in ways, just think about hobbies, think about memories, think about things you want to track. Check out YouTube videos for other things you may want to plan outside of your day-to-day planning. Like I said, just kind of think about things like that. And like my other big takeaway is when you look at these old planners, don't think you have to use the whole month at a time. You can literally take out single pages to add them to your current planner and use them more as a monthly thing and just white out the dates or remove the dates. So, you know, anything that actually utilizes what you have is always great. So that is the purpose of me doing this video today. If you stuck around and you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. I also would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. And I do want to thank all of you who have already subscribed. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into my video today. That is all I have. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.